My Lord, I think I can proceed. Yes, okay. Comrade, I have some few questions for you. You will agree with me that the 1966 coup is generally referred to as the Igbo coup or the Biafran coup. Yes or no?
As Igbo coup, yes, by mainly the Northerners. As Biafran coup, I never heard about Biafran coup. I'm hearing for the first time. Biafra came after the generalities about 66 coup.
You know what is called Biafra? I am not an Igbo man. I know it. Do you know what is called Biafra?
Of course I do.
What is it?
Biafra was a republic.
Right. And I put it to you that you also know very well why that coup is called the Igbo coup.
I wouldn't know. If we knew, I wouldn't have written a petition.
It is generally agreed that most of the planners, most of the executors, and the will-be beneficiaries, if the coup had succeeded, were Igbos. You agree with me?
I wouldn't say that. I would say that most of the 5 measures, yes, beneficiaries, no. Because the Igbos already had major presence in the government. They had the ceremonial president of the Senate. They had the Senate, they had the Senate of the President, the Senate President. They had ceremonial president of the country. They had the army commander. Then why should they stage a coup to overthrow themselves?
Comrade, listen to me very well. You see, it is not possible, I hope you will agree with me, that where you have planners of a coup, when people plan it and they succeed, are you telling us they are not the will-be beneficiaries?
You didn't ask me about planners of a coup. You said Igbo people.
You agree with me that planners of a coup, the executors of the coup, are some of the will-be beneficiaries if the coup succeeds, if the coup succeeds. You will agree with me. It is normal. It has happened in this country and elsewhere. You agree with me? You are a man of honor.
Yes, of course, yes. If you're saying that planners of a coup.
Now, there is that issue of the coup that led to General Buhari coming into power. There was also that of that one leading General Babangida coming into power. You see, these coups have never been identified or referred to as Hausa coups or Northern coups. They have never been. And do you know why?
Would I know why?
Yes.
Because those who stigmatized Igbo General 1966 coup as Igbo coup are the same people who are labeling the other coups as non-Northern coup.
Now, what I am saying is this. You have a lot of our literature, a lot of books, a lot of pamphlets refer to that coup as the Igbo coup. But none refers to these coups as Northern coups. And I put it to you that the reason is because persons from all parts of the country were involved in those coups that led us seeing Buhari and Babangida into power.
That is not even true. Many that are non-Northerners refer to the coups you referred to earlier as Northern coups. They may not have written them in paper. They might have,
Can you let us know?
Books about them.
Can you mention examples of any literature or book?
No, I said they may not have written them in books.
So you're not aware of any in books or literature. If you are aware, let us know. Let us have the particulars.
No.
You are not aware of any?
No.
You are only presuming or guessing.
I'm not presuming. I'm talking about what people say in the street.
Can you mention only one, a book where such a phrase has been used as Northern coup or Hausa coup or Fulani coup?
In fact, by extension, most of them say most of the coups in this country.
I am asking you, can you mention one book or literature work or pamphlet?
No, I cannot mention, but I've told you that it doesn't need to be in literature.
It's all right. Now, comrade, can we know how old you are? How old are you?
I'm over 60.
Slightly over 60. 61 is over 60. 69 is over 60.
No, I'm 62.
62. Thank you. Please, can we know where you were 6 months, about 6 months to the coup? That is to the 15th of January 1966. Where were you?
To which coup?
The 1966 coup.
I was in Lagos.
You were in Lagos?
Yes.
What about 3 months to that coup?
In Lagos.
On the day of the coup?
In Lagos.
How old were you then, at the time of the coup?
I can't remember, I was young.
But you were educated, you were an adult?
Yes.
You were grown up?
Yes.
You could read and write? You will agree with me that coup planners in some instances include civilians, not just military men.
Yes.
You were one of the planners. You agree with me? Were you one of the planners?
The imputation is absurd and a non sequitur.
I'm asking, it's a question. I'm just asking you. We have talked about planners. You answered questions about planners. It is either yes or no.
Absolutely no.
Simple. Are you happy that that coup was a failure?
Was a failure? That is 66 coup?
Yes.
It's not a question of being happy or unhappy. I was indifferent.
I see. And it is natural to be indifferent.
Yes, I was indifferent, but from a theoretical point of view, it's called no point.
But you would have been happier.
Sorry, comrade, could you speak up? We want to, sorry, please. We want to be able to follow your evidence.
Yes. You see, comrade,
Sorry.
these are material and relevant questions to assist us determine the truth and forge ahead in this country. I am asking you very simple questions. It is either yes or no or I don't know. What I'm saying now is this. You would have been happier if that coup had succeeded because you are an Igbo man. It is natural.
No.
You wouldn't have been happier.
As a young man in those days, and in the context of the political atmosphere in those days, one probably said that one would have wished that there were a coup, that we are talking in those days of Marxism, a coup that reflected the overthrow of a certain class for the downtrodden masses. But if it is being happy or unhappy because I'm an Igbo, absolutely no.
Now listen to me, sir. If that coup had succeeded, an Igbo man would have been the president or head of state at that time.
No.
Yes or no?
From what we hear later, the state
Yes
chief
or no?
Awolowo
Yes or no? An Igbo man would have been the president.
would have been
The president or head of state would have been the leader of this country if that coup had succeeded.
no.
Now, comrade, you complained about marginalization.
Yes. I didn't complain. OHANEZE complained about marginalization. I'm here to
Yes.
represent OHANEZE.
You are a member of OHANEZE.
Yes.
By necessary implication, you complained.
Yes.
You would have preferred to see an Igbo president today in Nigeria. It is natural. You would have preferred to have an Igbo president today in Nigeria.
Today?
Yes.
You're talking about today?
Yes.
Yes. But through due process.
Agreed, agreed. You have answered the question. Now, comrade, I want to refer you to Exhibit 1, which is a document tendered while the commission was sitting in Enugu. And if I'm not mistaken, that document was tendered through you as a witness. Exhibit 1, please, can we have a look at Exhibit 1? Do you have Exhibit 1 there? Exhibit 1. Now, please turn to page 10 of that exhibit tendered through you as a witness. Are you with me?
Yes, please.
Now, can you read the first paragraph loud and clear to the hearing of everybody in this hall?
With the advent of civilian democracy once more in Nigeria in 1999, Ndibo heaved a sigh of relief, for they hoped that it would mean the end of marginalization of Ndibo. Dr. Alex Ekwueme, an eminent Igbo son and former Vice President of Nigeria, 1979 to 83, and one of the founders of the People's Democratic Party, invited all Nigerians to join the party. General Olusegun Obasanjo emerged as the presidential candidate and won the election on the PDP platform. Ndibo of the Southeast Political Zone voted for him massively, and he obtained 70.29% of the votes cast in the zone. The zone was only second to the Southeast Zone, which gave 76.39% of the total votes cast in that zone. His ethnic group, the Yoruba of the Southwest Zone, gave him the least support and came out of the 6 geographical zones with only 22.3% of the total votes cast in the zone.
Go to the next paragraph, which is shorter.
Despite these political facts and the provisions made in the Nigerian 1999 Constitution for appointments into the federal services to show the federal character of Nigeria, it will appear that the present regime government has thrown these principles overboard once more and is determined to continue to marginalize the Igbo. First, reminding them that they were conquered and therefore must remain second-class citizens in Nigeria 30 years after a civil war in which Gowon had declared no victor, no vanquished.
You will agree with me, at the time Chief Olusegun Obasanjo became or was elected as president of this country, there were 3 political parties.
Yes.
Primaries were conducted between him and 2 other indigenes from the Igbo land, including Dr. Alex Ekwueme.
Yes.
Chief Olusegun Obasanjo won the primaries.
Yes.
And there was neither a petition nor a suit filed against that primary election.
Yes.
Now, will you agree with me if I put it this way, that even if the Igbos had not voted for Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, a Yoruba man would have still become the president of that country, Chief Olufalaye, because he was the only other candidate against Chief Olusegun Obasanjo at that time?
Yes.
Why? That was simply because the other presidential candidate of the APP, who is an Igbo person, withdrew, and that is Chief Ogbonaonu. He withdrew. You agree with me?
Yes.
He withdrew.
Yes.
So in other words, if you had not voted for Obasanjo, a Yoruba man would have still been the president.
Yes.
Thank you for that answer.
I don't understand. You haven't asked me.
It's all right. I'll ask you for that question. Stop there, please.
Because we never make a point here about presidency.
Come, are you a politician? Are you a politician?
I'm an ideologue.
Do you belong to any of the political parties?
Nominally, yes, to PDP.
PDP.
But now effectively to NSA.
You have a right to belong to any, and you have a right to cross carpet. Now, you talked about the Igbos being marginalized. Will you be surprised to hear that other tribes or nationalities are complaining of marginalization, including the Yorubas and the Hausas?
I will not be surprised. I've read about that.
You agree with them?
No.
Only the Igbos are marginalized.
Sorry?
Only the Igbos are marginalized.
I'm saying that. I do
So,
not agree.
so the Igbos are not marginalized?
They are very much so. And because we draw a difference between marginality and marginalization.
Agreed. I've seen that. But to me, it's not important. Now,
and if people
now,
cry
listen,
marginalization in order to divert
witness.
attention from a real issue, then that's unfortunate.
Now, listen, witness. You are aware we have a federal character commission in place in this country?
Yes.
Now, have you ever seen the reports, any of the reports, or the latest report, or any of its reports?
I've seen the latest report. I've seen some of the reports, yes.
Okay. Will you be surprised if by the latest report, it is contained therein that the Igbos are not marginalized in any way when it comes to distribution of offices at the federal level?
Well, I have to study statistics.
Will you be surprised, yes or no? That is all.
I will be surprised, very much surprised.
Now, look at also page 42 of Exhibit 1, which you signed and also tendered. Page 42.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you can you read the first sentence?
It is a matter of regret that the President did not follow the zoning of ministerial offices as approved by the National Executive Committee of the party in its meeting of 18th May 1999.
By the President there, I will be correct to say you are referring to Chief Olusegun Obasanjo.
Yes, please.
Will you agree with me that the PDP as a political party is entirely a different and distinct body from the federal government of Nigeria?
Yes, of course, yes.
You will further agree with me if I put it this way, that other members from other political parties also constitute part of the federal government of Nigeria?
Yes.
Is it obligatory or mandatory on the part of the President to agree to or to comply with directives from the PDP?
No.
Thank you for that answer. Now, look at the tabulation you have on that page, page 42. I don't know where you got it, but you tabulated all the ministries at the federal level into groups A, B, C, and D. You call those in Group A include Petroleum, Finance, Defense, Transport, Works, FCT, and so on and so forth. Now, there is a sentence, or there are two sentences in between the first tabulation and the second tabulation. Can you read those two sentences?
This would have ensured each geopolitical zone getting a ministry from each of the 4 groups of ministries.
Yeah, the next sentence. Just one sentence there in one line. But go on.
But as it turned out, the ministries allotted to the zones were as follows.
Okay, stop there. Now, you will agree with me from the tabulation you provided us with, you will find out that the northwestern part of the country, we have 6 geopolitical zones in this country, which you have stated also. You agree with me? We have 6 geopolitical zones.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you will agree with me that from the tabulation you provided us, you will agree with me that the Northwest Zone does not have, or at that time you filed this petition, was not having a minister from the category A of your tabulation.
Yes.
Secondly, The North Central Zone also does not have, or was not having any. Look at the tabulation.
Yes.
Now, you will agree with me that the Southeast Zone, the zone where you come from or where you hail from, has a minister from category A.
Yes.
And that presently an Igbo man is the third person in terms of position in this country,
Yes.
as of today.
Yes.
Furthermore, that third position, having been allocated to the Southeast, so far you have been able to produce at least within 2 or even a year, within 12 months, 3 different Senate presidents. You have been able to produce within 12 months or thereabout 3 different Senate presidents.
Yes.
While the Southwest produced only 1 president up to date since the commencement of the present political dispensation.
Yes.
The Northeast produced only 1 vice president and no more at that level.
Yes.
And again, you will agree with me that going back through the memory lane, remembering the historical facts in this country, particularly from the nationalistic days to date, you will agree with me that at a point in time, an Igbo man was the first citizen of this country. In fact, the first president or head of state of this country was an Igbo man.
A ceremonial president, yes.
Look, I'm not asking you for classification of the kind of presidency you had. A president is a president.
To you, to me, a president, not a president to me.
Oh, Zeke was not a president of this country. Yes.
Ceremonial president.
No. Answer me, and I want yes or no.
Sir, I'm not a robot.
I agreed. I didn't call you a robot. I did not call you a president. Can you please answer my question? You have a lawyer. He will take care of that. Answer my question. Zeke was the first president of Nigeria, and to the best of your knowledge.
My Lord, I've answered the question the best way I could.
Pardon?
I've answered the question the best way I could.
By saying what?
That he was a ceremonial president.
For how long was he there as president?
Sorry?
For how long was he president of this country?
I can't calculate off it now.
But he was a president. Yes.
Was a ceremonial president.
I put it to you that Zeke had all the powers and attributes of a president.
Well, it's an uninformed imputation.
And we all held him high honor, high esteem.
That's a different thing entirely.
Yes.
From the powers of...
You were happy that Zeke became the president of this country and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You were happy. And it's still honor on your side that he was, and Igbo man was the leader of this country. It's naturally you must be happy. Were you not happy? Or are you not happy? That at least the first president of Nigeria...
I was happy about every opportunity to serve the country.
And again, at a point in time, your zone produced the second citizen in this country. That was during the Shagari days, 79 to 83, 84. The
Yes.
second man in Nigeria was an Igbo man at that
Yes.
time. You were also happy. Or are you not happy?
I was.
Now, was he a ceremonial vice president?
Every VP is ceremonial.
Oh, every BP is ceremonial.
Yes.
Can we please know what you mean by ceremonial?
Every VP, as far as his functions are concerned, are the heads of the president, the executive president.
You mean he has no functions, no powers, no rights, no privileges? Is that
Well,
what
we
you're saying?
have privileges. I don't know about executive functions. If my function is to drive to the airport and come back every day, go that function.
Now, if that is the case, then the present vice president we have in the country is ceremonial.
The president is not ceremonial. The
The
VP is.
present vice president.
The present
Vice president is ceremonial.
In the context of execution
Listen,
of duty,
listen,
in the
don't
context
call-
of executive
listen,
duties as
don't
a
call-
right, yes.
Look, what
But
is-
there's a role to play nonetheless.
Listen to me. What is good for the goose is good for the
I
gander.
said yes.
So he is a ceremonial vice president.
Yes. In context of right to executive duties, except allotted to him by
And-
the president.
Yes. You see, you know, you have a lot of facts about our history in this country.
About
Our history in this country. Yes. Now, and considering your age and experience, knowledge, and the information you have, you will agree with me that if I tell you that the northeastern part of the country where I hail from had never produced a president in this country.
sorry.
Are you aware or not? Now, and I accept that sympathy in good faith. That being the case, will I be correct if I insist that from your own standpoint, the northeastern part of the country can also say it has been marginalized?
Well, let them make their
Wait
case.
a minute. You see, you had a president at a point in time, whether ceremonial or otherwise, whether for one day, what matters to me, the honor. Secondly, you had the second citizen at a particular time. Thirdly, you have at so many times produced the president of the Senate and what have you. Now, I am telling you, the northeastern part had never produced a president or head of state in this country. Wait a minute. We are talking of politics. Now, it has never produced a president in this country. It has never produced, if I'm not mistaken, even a Senate president. And this is the first time we are producing the vice president. Now, if I put it to you that the northeastern part of this country is being marginalized, will you agree with me? In fact, it's being more marginalized than the southeastern part of this country.
No,
Why?
because this in our case of marginalization was not just based on political offices, on totality of the resources of the nation.
Now,
Secondly, Southeast zone you are talking about was something of yesterday. Formerly, we used to talk about one of.
but one area you have complained is in terms of allocation of political offices and portfolio. You have talked about that in your petition, orally, and even earlier today.
As one of the indices.
One of indices, I agree. So I'm talking about that aspect. So will you agree with me when it comes to sharing of political offices? You will agree with me that the northeastern part of this country is more marginalized than the southeastern part of Nigeria. That is my question, and it's as simple as that.
I won't say so because not southeastern part of the country.
I put it to you that you are being selfish, and you don't
I
appear to
reject
be.
that. I
You are
reject
not.
that
You don't appear
implication.
to be a witness of truth.
I am perfectly explaining those truths. I am. But if you want through me to
Wait a minute.
distort history,
When I ask
will
you to
not.
answer, wait a minute. And also, you will agree with me that the south-south part of this country, which shares border with the southeast, had never produced the president of this country. Agree with me? Wait a minute. Agree with me?
Sorry about that. Just the phone. Can I hear you?
One by one. You agree with me? Your mic is working. Use it. We want to hear.
No,
You agree with
I
me?
was adjusting the
Oh,
phone.
sorry.
Ask
Okay,
me the
sorry.
question again, yes.
We want to hear your answer to this very simple.
No, but I say, ask me the question
Yeah,
again.
the
I'll
question
answer.
is the southern part of Nigeria
Yes.
had never produced a president in Nigeria.
Yes.
What about vice president? Had it ever produced one?
What about?
Vice president in Nigeria, the southern part of this country. Has it ever produced a vice president? The south. Your neighbors.
No, as far as I know.
Why did it take you so long time? Why did it take you so long time to remember?
Memory line to find
You
out
could
what they
remember
have.
that of the northeast. You could remember that of other areas. You cannot remember that of the South-South. And there are a lot of Igbos there. And there are Igbos in the South-South.
Of course there are.
Yeah. Why does it take you so long time to remember some of these facts? Now, you said while giving your testimony or making your testimony in Enugu before this commission that Dr. Alex Ekweme's position as vice president during the Shagari days was a play of the second fiddle.
Yes.
Right? And you further said that your appointment as a Minister of Information, I think during Babangida, was not a key appointment.
Yes.
Are you telling the truth?
Yes, of course.
And you still maintain that?
Yes.
In view of what the examples I've given you with other regions in this country?
Yes, you gave self-serving examples, yes.
Why didn't the Vice President reject it? Why didn't Dr. Alex Ekwemeji reject that appointment?
You don't need to reject the appointment. Take every opportunity to serve your country.
Why didn't you reject the appointment?
An opportunity to serve my country.
Now, I will remind you, while in Enugu, you said it was personal. Why now did you answer it here? You said your reason was personal. Why didn't you reject it? Why did you tell us the reason here?
Why I told you the reason here is that earlier you mentioned about witness of truth, which is very insulting.
And that is why you began.
Any question you ask me here, I'll answer it.
Okay. Now, you will agree with me that your position on this question, while in Enugu and now, your positions are different. There you said...
not different. I refuse to answer at Enugu.
You refuse to answer?
I don't want them to divert attention from the focus of OHANEZE.
Now, to say you accepted that very minimal position of minister, which you call minimal, you call a low-key, a second fiddle position, you are saying to refuse to say that your reason was that you agreed to serve this country was personal?
Because it was not relevant to our main petition at Enugu.
Listen to me. Whether relevant or not, you were asked a question. I have the cassette right here with me. Why did you agree to accept that appointment, which you considered unimportant? Now, you said simply because it was personal. You refused to answer that question.
Yes.
Now, I haven't asked you. Deliberately, I refuse to refresh your mind because you would have still told me it's personal.
No, I would have answered it. I made up my mind for coming here. I'm going to answer it.
You now answered and said you accepted to serve the people, to serve your country, to serve the people. To say your reason was that you accepted to serve the people, you think, is that a personal ground that you hid from the tribunal, from the commission in Enugu? Is that a personal reason? Is that a personal reason? Answer me.
Enugu, I said personal because I didn't want any diversion from the focus.
Listen to me. I am asking you, is that personal, yes or no? Just say yes or no. Any. You are free to choose. You are a free man.
I've answered that question.
Is that a good reason to say that you were personal, that the reason was personal?
I'm giving you the reason. I'm giving you the reason.
This also is evidence that you are not here to tell the truth.
And this is also evidence that you are asking me tendentious questions.
Now, I put it to you that there has never been any artificial hindrance against the emergence of any Igbo man as the president of this country. Artificial in the sense that nobody prevented an Igbo man from contesting. Nobody had prevented even an Hausa man or Yoruba man. The opportunities were equal. You agree with me that the opportunities are equal to all citizens in this country to contest election?
I do not agree with you.
Now, okay, I put it to you that Zik contested election under the MPP? NCNCS. MPP, yes. MPP, I'm right. Yes, Zik contested election as president of this country under the MPP, under the platform of the MPP. And twice for that matter.
Did I finish answering your last question?
It's the same question. Let me put it again. Zik contested...
You asked me whether artificial boundaries or not artificial boundaries. I want to answer it from your own paper. You
did not seem to understand the question. That was why I rephrased it for you. But if you had understood it, then go on.
I beg your pardon, I'm intelligent enough to understand every question you're asking.
Okay, can you answer that question now? Was there or is there any artificial hindrance or obstacle or impediment against the emergence of any Igbo man or any person of the Igbo race as the president of this country, or to enter into any political office of his choice?
Yes.
Tell us the artificial...
I can only quote by deduction your own paper here.
What page? What exhibit?
Page 7.
What exhibit? What page? What page? I have a copy.
I don't know the exhibit. No. You are
okay.
Page 7. Page 7.
The document entered yesterday? Yes.
That's otherwise response.
Yes, page 7. What paragraph?
4.3.
Read it.
I only read the first two sentences.
You won't read it?
I'll only read the first two sentences.
Sorry. Okay, go on.
You said domination of political power by the North was as a result of numerical strength. It was not an issue of marginalization. Now, listen to this third sentence. When the North decided to shift power to the South.
Yes. Now, listen. Can we have some silence? I'm happy this witness is up to the task, and we're going to proceed to have more and more revelations. Witness, you see, I'm going to put it across to you that up to this moment, despite my remarks, and I'll prove it to you, that you are not here to tell the truth, and you are here to hide some facts. You agree with me?
I put it to you, you are here to distort.
Okay, listen. You read paragraph 4. Wait a minute. It's a question of time. We'll be through. You read paragraph 4.3 before this Travel Commission just a minute or two ago. You picked and chose just the first two sentences to create a wrong impression, and that necessitated the ovation for you, and you were happy.
I can read the whole paragraph.
Wait a minute. I will read it for you. Don't worry, I will read it for you.
I read the whole paragraph.
I will read it for you. Now, that 4.3 reads as follows. Domination of political power by the North was as a result of numerical strength. It was not an issue of marginalization.
Which I read.
Wait a minute, I'm reading. Please allow me so that we can make progress. When the North decided to shift power to the South, it was done by consensus, give and take, and to give the South a feeling of equality, of oneness.
Which is still patronizing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Wait a minute. Huh? Look at the qualification. Look at the proviso ahead. It does not, however, mean that the North benefited more with its leadership, or that the South will automatically benefit more with its leadership. Not until the focus is the society and the nation, rather than few individuals or a selected few. The petition quoted Balarabe Musa on page 8 inter alia as follows. This is because the clique from the North, which dominated and still dominate political power, is selfish, short-sighted, unpatriotic, corrupt, just like its counterpart in the South. Now, you see, the relevant area now is when I ask you whether do you have a natural impediment or obstacle, you said yes, and you referred us to this. Witness, I put it to you that this first sentence is so clear that it is not a natural impediment. I ask you about artificial. Because here it reads, domination of political power by the North was as a result of numerical strength. Can you, for goodness sake, maintain again? This is a moment of truth, and everybody is watching you and listening to you. Can you again maintain that this sentence Domination of political power by the North was a result of numerical strength, numerical number as human beings. Is that an artificial impediment, artificial in terms of somebody has prevented you from contesting? You have not been allowed to see political power. Is that an artificial?
Before I answer that question,
that is all I want from you.
Before I answer that question, you began by saying that by not reading the whole thing, I was trying to hide the truth. Where didn't I read that was hiding the truth?
Yes, I agree. These are two issues. I'm coming to the other one.
Okay.
Answer this one first.
Yes.
Will you agree with me that by this is not an artificial impediment? And if you don't understand me, I'm the author of my words. Artificial.
I understand you.
Yes.
Go on to answer
please.
It is an artificial impediment because you can't read that sentence in isolation. Read it with that human will said, decided to shift power.
No, listen. I asked you a question before you read this. I did not read it to you. Now, keep this apart. We are coming to it. The question is this. Let me reframe the question. I am asking you, is there any artificial impediment preventing an Igbo man becoming the leader of this country? Artificial, probably. You are prevented. You are not allowed to contest. You are not. You are not allowed to be members of a registered political parties. Is there any artificial, not artificial, not made by God, artificial?
Of course, if somebody,
is there any yes or no?
I can't say yes or no. Like, I don't have to answer with this. I'm answering. If someone decided to give. To shift political power, he can decide not to shift political power. He can decide to deprive you of political power.
What I'm saying,
that is what I'm saying about
what
the
I'm
use
saying,
of forces outside the political process.
What this document is saying, in the perspective of the Arewa Constitutive Forum, is that politics, they may be right, they may be wrong. Politics is all about number. If you have 10, I have 100. You can't beat me, except you, my people, reject me. That's all they're saying. We are more than you. They are saying probably as a region, the entire North is one. The West is one. The East is another one. So without the consent of one region, you cannot be head of state. You cannot be president. So all I'm saying is the emphasis is on the fact that politics is a game of number. That is what this sentence is saying. So will that be an artificial impediment?
It is.
Because
okay,
wait a minute. If it is, wait a minute. No, you have answered me.
I've answered you.
Then can you give me an example of a natural impediment?
Can you give me an example of a natural?
Wait a minute. Can you give me an example of a natural impediment?
A natural impediment is a situation where the whole Nigeria becomes one political community. And within that community, somebody arises who is an individual, and that individual, based on his personal merits, is rejected and accepted by generality and totality of Nigeria.
So that is natural. That is natural. That is natural.
Yes. If it is natural. But if it's a group of people for the control population say that we decided to shift to you, that is artificial. That's undemocratic.
No, those people, are they not creatures? Are they not creatures? Let me ask you, comrade. Is it wrong for you to like your people? Is it wrong for you to prefer an Igbo man to be the president? Is there anything wrong with that? Is it not natural?
We are talking about
you have to answer this question.
Community.
You have to answer this question. Now, if there is an election even outside this country and a Nigerian is participating, is it not natural for me to support that Nigerian? I'm asking you. A Nigerian is involved against a non-Nigerian. Is it not natural for me to support him? Answer yes or no. It is so simple.
It could be expedient, but that's not necessarily natural.
It is normal.
It is not. It's a reflection of low political consciousness.
That takes us to what you are. Comrade.
Low political consciousness.
Now wait a minute. You are a comrade. You are a comrade. You are a comrade. You have to answer for me to progress. You are a comrade. Except if you want to denounce the word comrade. You are. Now, my understanding of somebody who is a comrade is that such a person has socialist tendencies, probably communist tendencies. Such a person is a dependable fellow, and his philosophies about life, about politics, and what have you, transcend and cut across tribal barriers, regional barriers, ethnic or religious parameters. And how do you reconcile, if you agree with me anyway, with this preposition, how do you reconcile it with your last statement?
That is about level of political consciousness.
Yes. How do you reconcile it with that? A comrade is not supposed to be seen as somebody championing the cause of only a selected few.
No, a comrade is supposed to be seen championing the cause of the downtrodden.
The downtrodden,
and
yes.
What is
the downtrodden, are they only in your area?
And what is happening to the...
Are the downtrodden only in your area?
What is happening to the Igbos is happening... If it's happening to the North Indian section of the country, I will also champion it if I'm opportune to.
Comrade, I put it to you that you are not prepared to answer these questions. Genuinely.
I put it to you that they are asking questions that I'm answering most brilliantly.
That is your personal assessment, and you are entitled to it. You, as a person, you are not happy with the antecedents of the People's Democratic Party. And because of that, you have opted to join a new political association.
No.
Tell us why you left PDP to go to another political association.
Did I tell you I've left PDP?
You said you are in another political association.
Yes, association a party.
Well, that is a formation. I said association. I said association, yes.
Mr. Lawyer, it's association a party.
I didn't call it a party.
Two different things.
I didn't call it a party. Listen to me.
And in any case, I began by saying that I'm nominally a member of PDP. I said that, at least I will withdraw. I said,
listen.
Nominally, I'm a member of PDP.
No. We have to get it clearer. I did not say, the records are there, that NSA is a political party. NSA is a political association, which intends to be registered probably with others or alone as a political party.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, you are aware that the PDP sacked some members who attended, some members, not all anyway, that attended meetings with other political associations. You are aware. You are aware. It's in the news.
They are top leaders, probably.
It's in the news.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
So now, why have you, that means you are not happy with the antecedents or activities of the PDP. And that is why you have chosen to belong to a new political association. Yes. You are not happy.
Yes.
You are not happy.
Yes.
Now, is that the view of OHANEZE?
No, of course, it's my personal
view.
Choice.
Fine.
Fine. OHANEZE
Fine.
is non-political,
yes, I know that. That's why I'm asking you.
Yes.
Now, witness, this petition, the petition filed before this Honorable Commission by OHANEZE was filed as a result or as an aftermath of a decision by some leaders of the OHANEZE. It couldn't have been leaders of Arewa or Afenifere.
Yes,
some
right.
leaders of Afenifere. Yes. How many of them? Number 10, 15? How many of them? 2, 12, how many?
Over 2,000.
Over 2,000. Wait a minute, it's okay. You have given me what I wanted.
No, I have to tell you what our organs are.
No,
how we
I asked you a number, you told me. That's all. It's my day, it's my turn. 2,000 people, over 2,000. It's okay. It doesn't make any difference, even if it's 3,000. Members of OHANEZE are more than 2,000.
Of course, OHANEZE, yes.
Roughly how many? Roughly in the millions, in hundreds of thousands. Roughly, just you don't have to be exact.
Talk about them in millions.
Millions. Now, I put it to you that most members of OHANEZE are not happy with this disposition, with this effort to come to this Honorable Commission and file this petition. Most of them are not happy.
The direct opposite is the truth.
Most of them are not happy.
The direct opposite is the truth.
Now, are you aware? Are you aware?
The opposite is the truth.
Are you aware of some Igbo indigenes or Igbo personalities who are not in favor of filing this petition before this Honorable Commission?
I'm talking about some Igbos or majority. Earlier I said majority.
There are some anyway. There are some. You agree?
No,
definitely, it's natural. There are some.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, some individuals. If
yes,
it's a Republican,
some,
I don't expect 100% to support
yes,
this.
There are some. And apart from these individuals, there is the Eastern Mandate Union, which is also against this antecedent.
No,
And in
Eastern
fact, they
Mandate
wrote-
Union, authentic Eastern Mandate Union, founded and led by Dr. Arthur Nwankwo, is a member,
Yes.
a member of OHANEZE.
Okay, now,
And the
which-
affairs, in fact, the highest organ of OHANEZE.
very good, very good. That leads us somewhere. Haven't mentioned there is an authentic one. In other words, there is a non-authentic one. Which one is the non-authentic one, and who are the leaders there? And if you don't know, it's left to you. Who?
I don't even know
But there
who
is
this
one
is.
which is non-authentic.
These are counterfeit.
There is none. There is one anyway. But there is one which is non-authentic. There is one. You said so.
No, for the first time I heard this was at the
Now,
sitting.
look.
I've
You
never
see,
heard it before.
you see.
It doesn't exist in Igbo consciousness at
Wait a
all.
minute.
I heard
You
about
see,
it.
when you use words, just like we had earlier used the word natural, when you talk of natural, it simply means the artificial is there. When you talk of authentic or authenticity, it means the fake one is there.
Yes.
So, having made mention, suo motu, on your own, that there exists the genuine or the authentic Eastern Mandate Union, that presupposes that a fortiori there is the non-genuine one or the fake one.
I assume so because I heard it for the first time at Enugu at this sitting. There must be a non-genuine one, just as there
Yes.
are other fringe,
okay.
just as other fringe groups
I agree.
in the north who are not ACF.
You had it. Yes.
Yes.
You had it for the first time. Listen, you had it for the first time during these proceedings in Enugu, but from an Igbo person. I watched it. I have the cassette. From an Igbo person who was there and said so.
I heard it from one of your councils, not an Igbo person.
I see. Okay. What is your personal opinion about Sovereign National Conference?
Sovereign National Conference. And I'm answering it because you said personal opinion.
Yeah, personal, your personal.
I believe in a national conference.
Yes.
I believe it's time for various elements of our plural society to come together
Yes.
to talk
Yes.
and dialogue. In
Plural
order to remove
societies-
all the necessary
what do you
distancing.
mean? You see,
But
what do you mean? Plural society, what do you mean? Please, can you explain? So that we can follow you.
by the plural society, I'm talking about the multi-ethnic community we have called a federation.
Yes.
But I do not believe in a meeting of ethnic associations. I believe that that takes us back to 1914.
Yes.
I believe that country has gone beyond that. That if, therefore, you're having a national conference today, we should be talking about a meeting of socio-economic forces, starting from the peasantry to the working class, to the petit bourgeois, to the comprador bourgeois, to the bourgeois class itself, to the capitalists, and to the neo-fascists. That is this ex-military officer, the neo-fascists. All of them meet to discuss these things.
Yes, now, doesn't that contradict your earlier position? Now you are here on an ethnic platform, yes or no?
Yes, I am here on the ethnic platform.
And now your idea
This is not
about-
a national conference.
Ethnic platform,
Yes.
representing, which is in order. There's nothing wrong if I represent my people. What I'm saying, you are here on a mission on an ethnic platform, the Igbo race, or the representing the Igbo or OHANEZE.
Yes.
Yes. Now, and again, you told us earlier when I asked you that question, and you said your idea of a better conference should be a conference that cuts across. In fact, I remember yesterday you answered and said you prefer an idea where there's a conference not based on nationalities, but that cuts across, or rather based on economic classes and what have you. Is there no contradiction in this statement?
There is no contradiction. It's like a man swimming to the shore. Huh? He has to make effort to be alive before he gets to the shore. My people won't sit and strangulate to death before you have the national conference. They'll do what they can to be alive, do national conference, then we come to a place where we reduce Nigeria to a level playing.
Land during the TIF disturbances.
Talking about arms, that was a mere speculation. Just as somebody come and say that the NPC...
Do you say, I put it to you, do you agree that...
In any case, The Middle Belt was under the authentic commander
agree?
of Joseph Taka of revered memory.
Do you agree that the Igbos sought to destabilize with importation of arms and ammunition and films and propaganda machinery for the purpose of destabilizing the North and therefore Nigeria?
That imposition is low-grade fiction.
It is.
It's got a propaganda.
Do you accept it or not? Yeah, especially
It's got a propaganda. I reject it with contempt.
Okay, you don't, you deny it. Okay. Why the provocation? Why the flurry, therefore? Why the provocation? Why do you get upstarted?
Because you gave a most uninformed, illiterate version of history.
I'll come back to school. I am putting it to you that the events leading to the January coup of 1966 had been on right from the 1961, which was attained in January 66.
Sorry, I didn't follow what you're saying.
The Indigbo plan started in 1961 to attain what it wanted in 1966. I put it to you that it was an old program that was nurtured carefully, deliberately, to destabilize the country by the murders of the northern officers and northern politicians, and opened the Pandora's box of illegal action by the military into civilian affairs.
I've told you about the constellation of social forces, both in the West and the Middle Belt, that culminated in this. If you decide to remain blind to the forces of history, I can't help you.
From January 1966, the coup of 1966 opened the Pandora's box, which others became students of in subsequent years. Would you agree that the coup of 66 was the first event in politicizing the military into the affairs of constitutional democracy and subsequent coups?
It was the first. The military have been politicized from the events I've mentioned earlier about the mirroring decisions into the army. But the actual step that gave expression to this, until I agree with you, you are right there.
So you agree that January 66 was the beginning of politicization of the military?
Follow my answer the way I put it.
No, yes or no?
No, I won't say yes or no to a question.
No, in this case, it's yes or no.
No.
Are you prepared to accept yes or no?
I'll give you an answer which I think is appropriate.
That is, things are either right or wrong. No half measures.
Sorry, the answer?
Things are either right or wrong.
Yes.
Did the military first make their first adventure into democratic constitutional life in January 66 or not?
Sorry, come again, please.
Did the military make their first incursion into constitutional democracy and violence in January 66 or not?
Yes, you're right.
I put it to you that the Igbos were the leading forces that led us to what ended Nigeria to what it is today.
No, the leading social forces, if you want to personalize it, began from Operation Waitie and from the riots in the Middle Belt.
Which, like I put to you, was caused by the Indigbo civilians and soldiers.
Which I put it to you too was low-grade fiction.
You can't put it to me. I put it to you that the marginalization that you define is a relative matter for your own definition. Let me give you an example.
Was a relative matter.
Was a subjective.
Subjective, okay.
I put it to you that your consideration of marginalization is a subjective view.
It was
unsupported by facts.
No, I quoted Adedeji there to define marginality.
Are you aware that 2 years ago, the Indigbo made a national advertisement on the papers that the Igbos owned 75% of every property in Abuja? Are you aware of that?
In when? 19
2 years ago, the Indigbo made a national advertisement on all the papers that they owned 75% of all property in Abuja.
I read something like that, yes.
Who?
But it was not published by OHANEZE.
Who is the marginalizer or the marginalized in that respect?
You are assuming first that we agree that the facts mentioned there were correct.
Well, if you tell me it's not true, then the Indigbo, I would say they made a statement inconsistent.
And in any case, a question of marginalization, we are talking about marginalization in the context of the public terrain. In the private sector, through your drive, through your hard work, you could have anything you have. Today in the country, the Ashamalos, that is the Oshobos, dominate textile trade and Ashoka trade, the whole of West Africa, the whole of Nigeria. That was based on their ingenuity and personal drive. Today, the Hausas dominate cattle rearing trade, hide and skin, suya. It was their own drive and their own another thing. We are talking about have to separate private sector from the public sector.
So you agree with me that the enabling environment does not make the Indigbo marginalized. The environment enables. Please. You agree with me that the Indigbo enjoyed an enabling environment which made it possible to fare well.
Made the enabling environment.
The environment has been enabled for the Indigbo to go into their free enterprise and have the full benefit of the free enterprise.
I will put it the other way around. In spite of the artificial obstacles in the enabling environment, the Igbos through their drive were able to do whatever they achieved.
What was the disabling environment that enables them to achieve what they have achieved? What was the disabling environment?
Let me give just one specific instance. And to avoid personalizing this, gay, north, west, this and that, which always I try to avoid. I'm giving one for the federal government.
I keep advising myself that we are doing this for the...
I give you an example for the federal government. Remove this from the motive level of tribes and indigenous and all that. I want to give you an example. I have to give you an example.
Is the enabling environment there for what success the Indigbo have been able to achieve? Is it there?
That's what I'm saying. That Igbos were able to achieve what they achieved in spite of obstacles in the enabling environment. Notionally, enabling environment was supposed to be there. In practice, the obstacles here and there.
I put it to you that, but for the
if an Igbo man moves with fast and gets
I put it to you that the enabling environment is responsible for the free enterprise, which aspect you do not accept as part of your demarginalization if you felt marginalized. I didn't
follow what you're putting to me.
I put it to you that the gross sum of the aggregate benefit to the Indigbo has the countervailing situation of demarginalizing others, but it is a free enterprise. I put it to you that the environment, the benefits of the environment outweighs every other conceivable perception of marginalization that you have. I put it to you that it is you who are the marginalizer and others who accept the forces of the market and constitutionalism and the law.
I reject that destiny if you follow up my very clear difference between the private sector and the public sector and what's happening in the free market economy. Let me just give you an example of this thing you're mentioning.
You see,
you don't want to take examples.
This environment has enabled you.
Why do you avoid the examples I want to give?
Because the answer is yes or no. Take your exhibit, the summary, the page on fundamental human rights that you claim to have been denied.
Sorry, what page?
Look at the summary. Have you got the summary? The summary. On exhibit 3, look at page 2.
Exhibit what, sir?
Exhibit 3. Page 2.
So did you say 2 or 4?
Page 2. Paragraph 2, marginalization. Last paragraph. That marginalization, can you read that?
Thus,
that
marginalization as used in this petition refers to systematic attempts to deprive or abridge Igbo's right to life, right to means of livelihood, right to human dignity, right to freedom of movement, right to freedom from discrimination, right to acquire and own immovable property anywhere in Nigeria, and other rights enshrined in the Constitution.
Which ones were denied?
Sorry, sir?
Which ones were denied? Because denied or abridged, which ones were denied? Because it's the litany of the entire constitutional provision under Chapter 3. Which ones were denied?
Right to life, Pogrom said much about that. Right to me.
Is it today or before? Is this denial of right to life, is it today?
Well, riots,
you said thus marginalization.
Riots in which Igbos are scapegoats have become familiar, recurring decimal. I've come annual things in annual festivals in the country. So I can continue to describe it in continuous present tense.
When last year hundreds of northerners were killed in the east, was that not a deprivation of life of others?
Well, make your own case to Opita panel.
Okay. It has been made. Look at the right to life. You have a right to life, there you are. And so have all others. Second, livelihood. Third,
to human
dignity.
Yes.
Fourth, freedom of movement.
Yes.
Freedom from
discrimination.
Yes. Right to acquire and own property. Is that last one abridged or denied?
Sorry?
Is the last one abridged or denied?
Both denied in some places, abridged in other places.
The right to own property?
Yes.
I put it to you that you give me exhibit 5, please. Yes, around up over there. Give me exhibit 5. Give me exhibit 5. Oh, okay. Yes. Here it is. Okay, give him Exhibit 5. Yes, can you look at that? It's called what? The Nigeria Biafra, can you read it? Can you read it? The back. Nigeria Biafra, read on.
Conflict.
Yes.
An international commission of jurists finds prima facie evidence of genocide.
Who made it?
What?
Who made this Nigeria Biafra conflict? An international commission of jurists?
Yes.
Find prima facie evidence. Who made it?
Yes, the International Commission of Jurists.
Where is the signature of the jurists?
Well, last time it was pointed out that, what happened, that this report was not complete.
Was not complete?
Well, yesterday when they had acquired notice for the first time, they said there are some pages you are missing. Someone was saying yesterday.
So it is not for the time being an authentic thing until it's completed.
No, it is.
It has no maker. The affidavits are unsigned. I put it to you that you contracted, created documents out of a sense, out of perceived false perception of marginalization. The documents are fake.
No.
Okay, this
you
one
see
has...
Moke and others who were there for us.
What?
We are there to listen.
Okay, show me how this can be taken as true. It's International Commission of Jurists. Can't you get a copy? It has no maker.
The International Commission of Jurists?
Yes.
We have a copy.
Where is the document that was from which this was made? Because it does not show the maker. It's a contraption.
No,
it's fake.
We have a copy from which
just like your ARAs.
For which made photocopies.
Okay, the originals were signed by the makers, the jurists. Do you have a copy that was made and presented to you by the ICJ?
We got the copy, in fact, from one who actually took part and represented us, Justice Mokede.
But they, who made it? Show me the name of the person who made it, or the signatory.
Yeah, this one here.
Yes, of this.
That's what I said. I'm told that yesterday the lady was surprised to hear that some pages are missing. That's what I'm going to find out why, what happened.
So it's another half-truth like your aircraft attacks.
No, of course it is not.
You present this place with fake documents, incomplete aircraft things, and people who want to look into the future to find future air disasters, marginalizations, fake and pretended. I put it to you that your whole document is fake.
No, it is not true.
My Lord, I seek to tender no genocide.
Exhibit 53.
Give him Exhibit 53 to look at the back. The copy no genocide. Can you read the back? Can you read it? No genocide?
No genocide.
What is at the bottom? Mm-hmm.
Final report of observer team to Nigeria from 1, Organization of African Unity, 2, Britain, Canada, Poland, Sweden.
Those are the makers of that document saying that there was no genocide in the civil war of Nigeria, both during the police action to arrest the culprits or during the full-scale war. As such, you open the first page. So go to page 30. '29 rather. Read the names at the bottom. Signed. Page 29. The bottom, the names there.
Major General W.
Signed first. There's in bracket signed. Read
signed,
everything.
yes.
Uh-huh.
Major General W. Wilroy, Canada. Colonel Alphon Olkewicz, Poland, signed. Signed. Major General Rab, Sweden, signed. Brigadier Sir Bernard Ferguson, United Kingdom.
Go to page 11. Name the signatories there. Name the signatories on page 11.
11, the road signed Commander Sliman Hoffman, signed Brigadier General Nega Tuhen.
So that is how you seek to prove the authenticity of a document, and the World Observer Team said there was no genocide after thorough investigations and free checks. You have nothing here to show who authenticated, signed, or participated, only typed pieces of paper and unsworn affidavits.
No, I told
that
you that
follows, I put it to you that follows the entire fabrication of these documents, which you want the world to believe are facts.
because I told you that you yourself, yesterday it was led to believe that the last pages you are missing, when I get in, I'll find out why. Because I know the original book we left in Paoso Kibo's library, which we are trying to find out before he died. I remember that very, very clearly. Secondly, I don't know what you mean by saying thorough observation of observer team, because in Biafra we never saw anybody from observer team.
I put it to you that these documents are imaginary and concocted and made without any truth in them whatsoever, either before the war, during the war, or after the war, and that the Indigbo have nothing in their hands to support their allegations.
I reject that as a mere re-echo of what our council did yesterday.
I put it to you that January 66, July 66, the Biafra civil war, its aftermath, and how you fare. You have created a scenario that is false with no foundation whatsoever. And on that case, I urge the tribunal to discount your entire presentation.
How long will your own last? Because we are closing at 4. Will your own be more than 4? If that is yes, we give you a fresh date. So you come fresh. And we have our 4 hours.
No, my Lord, I don't think I will ask this witness up to
Will it-
15 questions.
10 minutes will be all right for you?
Yes.
10 minutes.
No, my Lord, 10 minutes will not be okay.
Give me how many minutes?
My Lord, I think if I can have between 20 and 25 minutes, I will be through with
So
it.
after 25 minutes, I stop.
You will stop me.
All
That's
right.
No problem. Comrade Uche Chukwumerije, please open your memo at page 15. I don't know. Exhibit 1. Turn to paragraph 3 of that exhibit. Exhibit 1. The petition.
The page 15, you say?
Page 15.
Yeah, you said page 15. Yes, please.
Yes. Paragraph 3, you mentioned the phrase middle belt. Am I right?
Yes.
Do you have an in-depth knowledge of what the middle belt was and what it is in present-day Nigeria, in terms of states?
Fairly general. I won't use the word in depth.
I didn't get you.
I will say general like anybody else. I won't use in depth.
Can you give a brief description of the middle belt, because we have put it there?
Then, or as it is now.
As in today's configuration of which state, to the best of your knowledge.
To the best of my knowledge today, you are talking about Benue, you are talking about Plateau, you are talking about Taraba, you are talking about Kogi, you are talking about...
Louder, please.
No, Kogi is... oh, sorry. Today's middle belt.
Yes.
You are talking about like Benue. You are talking about Plateau.
Yes.
You're talking about Taraba. You are talking about Kogi. You're talking about that's the core ones I can remember offhand.
All right.
I don't want to tell lies on this.
But there's a possibility that there's an additional area.
There are at least 2 more. There are
Thank
more.
you very
There should
much.
be at least 6 states.
You relied on Blood on the Niger, written by E. Okocha, on that in the same page 15.
Yes, please.
Now, Blood on the Niger, did you find out whether it is first-hand authority or it is based on a collation of other authorities?
No, I found out it was based on extensive research.
Extensive research.
And extensive research, of course, will imply observations, verbal interviews, relying on other authorities, and so on and so forth.
In other words, there was no direct evidence as far as the Blood on the Niger is concerned to show that the Idomas and the thieves massacred the Igbos when they were running.
No. We're not talking about his Blood of Niger was not on the Idomas and distance. They're in the same paragraph. It's in the second wave. That's different. Blood of Niger was talking about the Saba massacre and the Middle Belt. Listen. No, this is not a part of what he was saying.
It's not part of what
No,
you
so they're in
quoted.
the same paragraph. You're not talking about Middle Belt.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry, we're not talking about Middle Belt.
So the first 2 lines of that paragraph say many Igbos who managed to escape from the far north were massacred
Yes.
in thousands by Idomas and thieves.
Yes.
as they transited through the Middle Belt.
That's the only one that applied to this. Not from the blood of Niger.
Okay, you are not quoting from the blood on the
No,
Niger.
no, please, no.
Now, how do you substantiate it? Is it because from personal knowledge?
No, from extensive interviews done by the police, by civil defense, by BIAFRA intelligence, from those that come back in millions.
But you were not.
And that's what led to Program 1, 2, 3, 4, volumes, also volume 6.
You were not part of the interviewing team?
No, I wasn't.
In other words, this is hearsay.
No, it couldn't be hearsay. So authenticated history.
So turn to page 45 of Exhibit 1.
45.
You have listed some riots from 1980 to 1992, etc., etc. What was the nature of these riots? Religious, ethnic, political, or what?
Varied. Those that are definitely religious are described as religious.
But everything centered on religion.
Not necessarily maybe communal conflict or one thing or the other. Emphasis was really on the act of riot itself.
Now, can you describe these riots? We want to know. This is a fact-finding commission. Were they religious? Were they tribal? Or were they political?
What I was telling you, that I can't categorize all as, listen, those that we know for sure are definitely religious, we try to describe as religious.
Okay.
The others may not even...
In other words, some of them there were religious.
Yes, some were religious, some were not.
If they were religious, who started them?
Well, in most of these things, as we hinted, the disappointment was that many of them, there were no official investigations. Our main concern was the number, the magnitude of injury inflicted on Igbo lives and property. That's our main concern in this. That's why this was scapegoats always.
Okay. When you talk of religious riots, are you talking, which religions are you mentioning in terms of these riots? Which religions? Is it Bodhi, Christianity, Islam, or whatever?
The reality of Nigeria, there are three main religions: Islam, Christianity, and animists.
So basically, there were riots concerning
It could
Islam,
involve any of the two or whatever.
Islam and Christianity.
Most of it,
basically riots concerning Islam and Christianity.
more or less, yes. If riots were the cause there, if religion was the cause in any of the riots there.
So if they were religious, it means not only Indigo will be affected, other people were also affected, especially from the Middle Belt.
Yes, you're right.
Do you remember that on the 3rd of May 2001, while this Honorable Commission was sitting at Enugu, two witnesses, Gideon Emeka Nwansi Obi and Weze Nzeribe, testified on behalf of OHANEZE Ndigo? Could you remember?
I couldn't remember. I didn't sit throughout.
All right.
Because at the middle of it, after my testimony, I left, but I was bereaved.
Let me put you through so
throughout,
that
yes.
maybe you can remember. These two people told the story that before the war, they had property somewhere in the Middle Belt. But after the war, they went back and reclaimed their property. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And do you have evidence elsewhere that property that Igbos left just before or during the Civil War in the Middle Belt was tampered with when they came back to reclaim?
No, we just have evidence of underpayment, not tampered with. Yes.
Thank you. But generally, they came back to claim back their property.
Yes.
If you are called upon to fight on behalf of the federal government, will you adhere to the call?
Federal government
Yes.
to fight on their behalf
On their behalf against an enemy.
against an enemy,
Yes.
external or internal.
An enemy generally.
Eh?
Against an enemy.
If enemy of Nigeria, yes, I will. I mean, without betting our lead, I will.
You will agree with me that most of the people that fought during the Civil War were from the Middle Belt, on the side of the federal government.
Yes.
And they were merely responding to a national call. They didn't have any particular interest or inflicting injury on the Igbos.
Yes.
Now, you have graphically described the Middle Belt area to the best of your knowledge. Would I also be correct to say that the agitations for a Middle Belt region started in the late 1930s, up to the time, in fact, up to today? Will I be correct? To the best of your knowledge.
I don't know details of history, but based on my knowledge, yes.
You are aware that before independence, there were struggles for the realization of a Middle Belt region, and that the late J.S. Tucker even went to the London Constitutional Conference for this.
Yes.
So, from time immemorial, let us put it that way, the Middle Belt has been seeking a separate identity from Arewa, to the best of your knowledge.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
So it is very wrong to input the crimes, so to speak, of Arewa on the Middle Belt, as adumbrated in your petition.
Arewa, as the name implies, defines the north, and Middle Belt is a part of, geographically a part of the north.
No, let me understand. Let me hear you. Let me hear you very well.
You asked me about whether it's wrongness or rightness of imputing the blame of Arewa on the Middle Belt. That's what you asked me.
Yes.
I told you that my understanding about Arewa is the whole north. And Middle Belt is a part of the whole north.
Yes. But the fact that there were struggles by a certain section you have defined as the Middle Belt suggests that the Middle Belt did not agree with all that Arewa was doing at that time. Am I right?
Yes.
So if the Middle Belt were so fair-minded to return your property, it is not possible to suggest that they massacred Igbos when Igbos were going back, running away from persecution.
It is possible we gave concrete examples given by the men, those who have their wound to show. They came with one who's almost a giant, 6'3", whose head was cut off in Makode, and the whole corpse was brought back there.
Now, you...
we are used to what here, Weled, and I mean Weled. Those who escaped are those who came to tell the story.
Take a look at page 15 once again. That page 15 sounds very important to the Middle Belt. Paragraph 2. The first and second lines.
Yes, I mentioned one judge.
You mentioned one poor I, Okwara.
Yes.
The deposition to the tribunal. According to you, he is an eyewitness.
Did he also address you personally? This Paul Okwara on his experiences as reduced there.
No, this is a part of the evidence he gave before on UK Commission. He's an old man. Sorry, he's an old man now.
Yes.
We got him, and he confirmed the same story.
And he did not testify. He has not so far testified.
What he lifted was the story as he gave it then, yes.
He has not so far testified before this commission.
This commission?
Yes.
As far as I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
So I am putting it to you that the Middle Belt region, as has been agitated for, is also complaining of marginalization, and therefore could not have been an instrument of marginalization against the Igbos.
The marginalized can be marginalizing others too. Don't forget that. In fact, the greatest form of cruelty is the oppressed to the oppressed. If you know the anatomy of oppression. So the fact that they are marginalized, as you say, doesn't mean that they could marginalize Igbos. But yeah, we're not even complaining about Middle Belt as marginalizing us. Or anybody in that particular. We're talking about the system, according to emphasizing.
So it is the same system that I am putting it to you that has marginalized the Middle Belt till death.
That is your own case. Put your case to commission.
My Lord, that is all for the witness.
Now, how many minutes will you take?
My Lord, 10 minutes will be okay by me.
Because we must rise by 4.
10 minutes will be okay by me, my
All
Lord.
right, go.
My Lord, at the bar here, we, the younger members of the bar, we are praying that when we grow old, God should grant us the grace of the patience of this commission. My Lord, I want to take the witness through exhibits 1 and 3, which were both documents of OHANEZE and Igbo. Comrades, sir, reading through exhibits 1 and 3, both of which you were a signatory, I take it that you believe in its entirety everything contained in those exhibits.
Yes, my Lord.
You also believe in those exhibits as concerning what it says pertaining to the River State government?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Specifically, your grouse against the River State government involve 3 issues, namely 1, the abandoned property, 2, an alleged refugee camp of Indigbos being maintained by the River State government, and 3, boundary dispute between River State and some states of Indigbo. These were the thrust of the issues you raised in both exhibits 1 and 3. Yes. I want you to be audible enough for the commission.
Sorry. Yes.
Fine. Now, let's take them seriatim, starting with abandoned property, because I have very little time. Are you aware that the abandoned property policy of the River State government, a product of the exigency of the Civil War, was actually designed to preserve and protect the properties for eventual return to the approving owners?
Before I answer that question, please, you mentioned about grounds against Rivers State.
I thought
Our grounds in this thing is against the federal government and against the system.
I mean,
Then I go to your question now.
as tangentially touching on Rivers State
Yes,
within the
yes.
petition, yes.
Yes.
Fine.
You said that the properties were preserved to be returned to their owners, right?
They are proven owners, eventual return to their proven owners. Are you aware that that was the policy of the Rivers State government?
I'm not aware because in actual fact, that was not what was done.
Fine. You are not aware of such a policy. Are you aware that that
Let's
policy...
put it in focus. States don't make decrees.
My Lord,
They make edicts.
my Lord, I have not talked
Hold
about
it. So if there's a policy, it should be a policy of federal government,
My Lord-
not state government.
My Lord, I have not talked about any decree. And then I know where I'm leading the witness to. Yes. We never pretended to have the power to promulgate a decree. Are you aware, comrade, that that policy was backed up by a law of the Rivers State government, an edict? Are you aware?
Yes, an obnoxious bad law.
I didn't ask you about the character of the law. It's a
A
simple
bad law
question.
is as good as no law. That's what I'm trying to say.
Are you aware that law is the Abandoned Property Custody and Management Edict number 8 of 1969?
That Turenchi for lawyers. I don't know.
No. Is that the name of that law? I don't want to fall into or emulate the bad example of tendering law through you. I know what you use to make of laws. Do you understand my question? Are you aware of any
I'm
law?
aware of that bad law. That's what I said.
No. Wait, let's forget about what the law is. The commission will decide on that. That will be the work of the commission.
Because I thought it pinches us.
No.
I know where they pitch.
I am not asking you about the nature of that law. Whether a law is bad or good, leave it to the commission. But are you aware that there was such a law known as the Abandoned Property Custody
Yes.
and Management Edict number 8
Yes.
of 1969?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Are you aware that from the provisions of that law, all owners of abandoned properties, upon their return, such properties would be returned to them if they validly prove title to such properties? Do you know that that was the content of that law?
The content, if they were contents of law, they're not implemented.
No, do you know? We'll go to.
I wouldn't know because I know all the people who came to explain their this. Most of them lost their lives in the process.
Do you know that this is the policy which this law embodied?
The landlords are interested in policy. They're interested in actual fact, what's happening on the field.
Let's get to somewhere. Are you aware that that policy was actually entrenched into that law? Because that is what we are going to show to the commission eventually. Are you aware that there is such a principle, at least, in this law, even if it was not implemented, according to you?
Yes.
Very good. Are you aware that under that law, that if a claimant proves validly his title to a particular property, the property was returned to him by means of an instrument issued under the hand of the governor?
So the law said.
Good. Are you aware, comrade, that eventually the federal government, in trying to give protective legal backing to this policy, which was not unique to Rivers State, also put in place a law at the federal level called the Abandoned Properties Act?
Yes, another bad law.
You leave that to the commission, comrade. Are you aware that under that Abandoned Properties Act, every step, every action taken by any state government concerning abandoned property matters cannot be brought before any other court?
Council.
Yes.
Which one came first in point of time? Was it the edict or the decree?
My Lord,
we want to know, follow the sequence.
yes,
You're talking about, he had earlier referred him to an edict.
My Lord, I'm not in doubt about my Lord's question. The edict came first, and I have followed that sequence.
And then the decree came later.
Yes, my Lord. I hope there is no other question for my Lord.
Huh?
I thought there is some more question for my Lord for me.
I
see.
Clarification.
Comrade,
Yes, sir.
finally on this aspect of it, are you aware that the federal government, by means of the Abandoned Properties Act, barred, that is, foreclosed any inquiry of any nature in any court concerning issues of abandoned property, including questions involving human rights resulting from those transactions? Are you aware?
Yes, but not including human rights.
Comrade,
Yes, sir.
you talk about, at pages 34 to 35 of your petition, you talk about boundary dispute between some territory of Ndigbo with Rivers State. And you call into question before this commission some form of demarcation. Are you aware that in 1983, the Supreme Court of Nigeria did determine effectively and effectually boundary dispute between Rivers State and areas of Ndigbo territory that were in issue? Are you aware of such a Supreme Court?
The two adverbs, effectively and what?
Are you aware?
No, I have to sentence.
Okay.
Two adverbs.
Effectively and effectually. That is, that matter has been closed. Are you aware of
I'm saying effectively, yes, not effectually, not closed.
I see. Are you also aware that in 1987, the Supreme Court again, taken from the axis of the Ndoni-Egbema area, also made a categorical judicial pronouncement in a decision between Rivers State and Ndigbo on this issue of boundary?
Yes.
On the third issue of your refugee camp, comrade,
Yes, sir.
you know that the whole Nigerians are watching these proceedings. Do you want them to believe? Because as we are carrying on, we are being beamed for the whole world to see. You want this Honorable Commission and Nigerians to believe that there is a refugee camp in Rivers State maintained by Rivers State government of Ndigbos?
Yes, Aro Ikwere.
You want this commission, if it's so minded, to embark on a visit to the locust Inquo, to believe that they could identify such a refugee camp in Rivers State in the year 2001 of Ndigbos?
They will.
Do you know who instituted this so-called refugee camp? Who put it in place?
Who instituted them?
Do you know the origin? Who put it in place? How did it come about?
The state government at that time.
Which state government specifically? Which particular regime? Can you be specific?
I don't know what particular regime, but at that time.
Have you brought this to the attention of the Rivers State government at any point?
Yes, at that time, yes.
How about now?
Through Mbakwe and others.
Now, have you brought it?
Can I help you? Witnesses came and gave evidence about this camp.
That is why we are
called it. He is not a witness. He didn't go there. Witnesses living there came and gave evidence.
Yes.
And said they reported to the Rivers State government.
Yes.
Asking him is neither here nor there.
My Lord,
Hold it. I want to also pursue it because we should have gone to see the camps ourselves. So if you let us know the names of the witnesses so you can cross-check.
My Lord, that's what I'm saying. That is all the more reason why I have a duty
We
to
want to know the
him.
facts, but not from this witness. From those witnesses.
But he is...
Please, can you give us the names of those witnesses so that you can also cross-check?
Very well, my Lord.
Yes, so you can also cross-check. Asking him is here, neither here nor there.
My Lord, this is the author of Exhibit 3. Sole author.
That is not Exhibit 3. The whole evidence to be presented.
It is
and the witnesses came one by one. So give him the details.
My Lord, we are very grateful. But these facts are contained in the petitions, of which this witness is a maker.
I think this point is not a point that we can gloss over or be established by merely asking him or even those who gave evidence.
Very well.
That is a matter I think that has to be resolved by visit locus inco.
And I've said that much.
Yes,
in my question.
I agree with you.
Yes. So
They may have come to say yes, they were refugees, but that's not enough.
Yes.
In my view,
that
is a matter that only a physical visit.
Yes, because the River State government does not maintain such a camp. That is why we are bold. For the whole Nigerian to hear us, that we are prepared. There should be a visit to the site.
Before you conclude,
yes,
can we arrange a date to visit this place with the River State government, the commission, possibly the witnesses, so we know what is really on the ground, whether the witnesses are lying or whether they're telling the truth.
My Lord, we would like to be guided by the commission.
Address is not, we have to go there. So that during our report,
yes,
we say we went there.
Yes,
either we saw or we did not see.
Yes.
Yes. So if we will decide before we close,
the commission will give us indication.
We send letters to the parties. Okay. We send letters to you, send letters to the petitioners.
Yes. But
all right then.
For the
just like we are going to Locus.
Yes.
Kaduna State. Yes. So we'll try and arrange to go to this alleged,
yes, very well, my Lord.
What do you call it?
Refugee camp.
Refugee camp.
Yes, my Lord. My Lord, for the Commission's guide, we will not be disposed in August because August is closed because of the bar conference. We are all involved. I am on the neck of MBA. So any date in September will be okay by us, my Lord. We are grateful, my Lord. Yes. Yes. My Lord, in line with my promise to be very brief and not to emulate my earlier colleagues, I have finished with this witness.
Please, make a note of it. Make a note of it. When you decide on a day to visit the so-called camp, inform the River State government, inform the petitioners. So, like, where to meet and proceed. Thank you. Well, you can easily get it. It's a law.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
You haven't finished?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just on a very brief note and conciliatory note too.
All right.
Comrade Chukwumerije, you are a member of the PRP, yes. Did you belong to the PRP?
Yes, I ended up for a general secretary.
You are what? Could you speak more loudly?
I'm sorry, please. Yes, I belong to the PRP, but I ended up as the general secretary.
PRP is People's Redemption Party, for the records.
Well,
now, and you are the Secretary General.
I began as public secretary, from there to general secretary general.
Now, that is the point I will use on the concluding point, but I would like to take you to the evidence of bullying. I hope I'm correcting it, pronouncing it correctly, of Wednesday, the 25th April, at page 84.
Page 84?
My Lord, yeah, this is the verbatim report, and I would save the time of the commission just to refer to it because it's on the records. In his evidence, he was quoting from the book written by Ademoyega. And in it, he gave an account that is of relevance to you, which I would like you to confirm or deny.
That was of the time I wanted to join the army.
Yes, I will come to it. I will just direct you to it.
Okay, I don't want to save time, if that's what you want to ask.
Now, he referred to an incident. Did you attempt to join the Nigerian army?
Not only I attempted,
I
passed the exam with flying colors, not just I attempted.
You passed the exam with flying colors.
Yes, and I was the first to be declared a wool when I refused to join.
But his account, comrade, is that you were not selected.
No, he didn't say so.
Well, I will refer to what he said.
No, he didn't say so.
And these are not my words.
Yes.
Well, I read what I have. Maybe
Yes.
the records got it wrongly. So I had undergone a 6-month military training preparatory to their father training overseas. In this instance, 2 of us came from outside, namely Uche Chukwumerije and myself. Then he said, "Now do you know Uche?" He said, "I cannot afford not to know him." The chairman said, "Go on." And then he further continued. I don't know whether I should read all of it in view of the time. Okay. Uche Chukwumerije and myself, it was actually the selection board meeting that brought us together for the first time. And we took, yes, well, I said so that he was quoting from Ademoega. We took to each other at once as if we had grown up together. When we were brought together with those cadets in the process of being tested, we observed some of them, that is some of them who were northerners who were more carefree and more confident of sailing through those from the south were afflicted by fear of failing, that they wore the look of anxiety and bewilderment. In the course of our discussion, the cadets made it clear to us that less than half of their their own group would be selected, and northerners were already billed to be 50% of the total number to be selected. However, they already knew the 8 northerners to be selected, and they knew that at least none of those northerners would never have made it but for the quota system. This explained why they were bewildered after we were all Nigerians, and there should be no cause for discrimination of any kind. It was rather surprising that the total number allowed to pass through was small, since at that time, this Nigerianization of officers Mr. Chairman, was a popular expectation. Let me skip it, unless, of course, if the Commission wants us to read all of it. Now, I will go to the point where he said, the second incident, still referring to the book, was an account that you, Bullier, and Ademoega had an exchange, 3 of you. Did you have any such exchange? You, Ademoega, and Bullier.
You asked the first question that he told you that I failed the exam. I wanted to...
Well, I'm reading from the... failed the exam. Okay.
Well, what you mentioned, I wanted to read that portion. I said I failed the exam. Was I very categorical about that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Na duba dai. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I will take the correction that he may have accepted, but he abandoned. I take the correction, Mr. Chairman. But
no, it's not my. It's what is in the book. Why we struck is there.
yes, Mr. Chairman. Then let me go to the next point I wanted to make. Did you have any consultation, the three of you?
Consultation?
Yes, you, Bulye, and Ademoega. Yes or no?
No, I thought you're trying to read something about, you said in second meeting, or something like that you're trying to say there.
I wanted you to tell this commission whether you had any consultation between you, Ademoega, and Bulye.
I don't know what you mean by consultation.
Did you ever discuss the Nigerian military?
What?
The situation in Nigeria before the coup?
Well, in the Marxist days, in those days, I discussed the situation with Nigeria with everybody.
So, would
And
it
I
be
discussed it very often with Wale. I think I pointed out to you in that book. That one reason why I didn't join the army, because I was too radical for the army.
Would it be correct that would I be correct to say you are consulted by them?
Of course,
Since
it
you
is
didn't
not.
belong to the army?
That's absurd. I didn't know anything about this.
Well, this is what he has said.
Just as you could quote where you say, well, I failed now. Instead
Well,
where I was a consultant. Quote it, let me see it now.
This one I will. This one I will. Well, this is what is said in the book, please. This is what is said in the book. This is what was said by Ademoega in the book.
Ademoega or by me? Because you said what I said. Now you said Ademoega. I don't know which one.
No, I asked you whether you were consulted.
Okay,
you
go
said
on,
you
go
are
on,
not.
no.
You said you are not.
I think that's absurd. So I said,
You said
that,
it was
yes.
absurd.
Yes.
Now, this is what Bullier said in his testimony. Imagine, sir, we later spoke to page 86. We later spoke to other officers, including Captain Okechime, who encouraged us to come into the army. Later on, when I was alone with Uche, he expressed Ademoega saying this. He, Uche, expressed some misgivings about Efejuna being already in the army. He explained that during a planned agitation in the days at University of Ibadan, Efejuna deserted their group in the moment of action. He was therefore apprehensive that Efejuna might do the same again in the event of a planned military action, but he's already in the army. I replied, Ademoega said, and if such a behavior should show again, it would have been taken care of. Uche seemed to have agreed with me with some reservations. He kept quiet. Both of us were accepted by the board. That is where the missing point I was looking for. Both of us, I guess, Ademoega and Bullier, were accepted by the board, but Uche did not turn up in the enlistment in the army. His place was remained.
So is that failure?
Well, my question to you is, did this account take place?
Yes, it did.
Or it took place?
Yes.
Would you therefore say that in the build-up to the coup of 1966, you were a consultant to the
But this
majors
happens
who were...
not a consultant, have many years before then, as an undergraduate, in the effervescent period of Marxist thoughts.
This was after your graduation.
I was thinking very, very loudly about all these things.
This was after your graduation.
Yes, sir. That I've just graduated by waiting for my results.
So they consulted you?
Not consulting. We are discussing together. I don't need to consult me. They're older than me. I mean, but they were older than me.
Well,
consult me over what?
And you
discussed from London.
You discussed in connection with what was happening in Nigeria.
We discussed everything happening in Nigeria. Not that with this group, any group.
Well, for the
purpose of a very open society.
For the purpose of this commission, only what concerns the change of government that finally Bullier, by his own testimony, and Efejuna participated in.
Sorry?
We are discussing your consultation, your discussions, not necessarily your advice, in connection with what was later to become the coup of 1966, in which Bullier, by his own testimony, and Efejuna participated in. Was any such discussions?
You asked me about the question, and I told you yes, there were discussions.
Would you consider yourself, therefore, a conspirator in the 1966 coup?
What?
Would you consider yourself, even if distantly, a conspirator in the 1966 coup?
No, I will not. Although I wish I had, but I'm not.
You wish you had participated?
Yes, if it had made it more revolutionary.
It would have made it more revolutionary.
Yes. If I had a clear ideological orientation, maybe all this assassination would not have taken place. Because I aimed at something more important.
What would have made it more revolutionary?
What?
What would have made it more revolutionary?
First and foremost, political assassinations are not a part of a revolution. That would be necessary in the first instance. Secondly, you have to get out a clear-cut ideological roadmap you want to take the country to. It's not just enough to say that this people did that, and all that.
Is your version of revolution that of China or that of Russia, where killings took place of leaders?
I refuse to be diverted from OHANEZE focus.
You have to answer my question, because Russian and Chinese are revolutions in history in which leadership were eliminated. Would that have been in your contemplation, in your own idea of revolution?
These are not the only revolutionary decisions.
Well, tell me a revolution
Cuba
that... Well, is it the Cuban?
Well, a revolution, I just mentioned a revolution.
Because
every revolution has...
Tell me one revolution where no leadership was not eliminated.
I don't need to base it on any foreign model.
Uh-huh.
The dynamics of the situation worked out its own local variety.
Oh, okay, well... I think I might seek the indulgence of this commission for us to tell you your local variety. That will not involve killing, when we know from
you
history,
can't even tell me because you don't know anything about revolution.
Please.
You're a bourgeois to the core.
Please.
You don't know anything about revolution.
Answer my question.
I've answered that
What
question.
would have been your version that would not involve the killing and elimination of leaders?
The version would be a local variety of a revolution.
Well, I'm afraid the local variety, which involved Efejuna and Bullier, involved the assassination and selective killing of certain leaders from a different part of the country.
That is their own local variety.
And
I was not in the
probably you would not have behaved differently with them. Answer my question. Would you have behaved differently if you were among the fifth and you become the sixth?
I don't know what to use to describe it. Not just answering your question.
Well, you can choose any word and just answer me.
Can you choose any word?
Choose any word.
Ideologically illiterate imputation.
Well, what is your definition of an illiterate? What is your definition of an illiterate? Mr. Chairman, I will conclude on the point I started. You are the Publicity Secretary, or is it Secretary General of the PRP? Secretary General of Publicity Secretary of PRP. Excuse me, I'm asking you a question.
I told you I was once public secretary, later the general secretary. I told you once. That I was originally publicity secretary and later became general secretary.
Of the PRP?
Yes, please.
Malam Aminu Kanu was what? Then?
Being politically, ideologically, or what?
Malam Aminu Kanu was what in PRP then?
He was our president and our leader.
He was your leader. Would you say that the altercation, the disputations, and the disagreements that have taken place all this morning and yesterday, and throughout the sitting of this commission, are the sort of altercations, disputations that you and Malam Aminu Kanu would go through on a matter that you disagree?
On a matter?
On a matter that you disagree over.
What are my altercations? Please, can you be more explicit?
Well, I use three words, disputations.
Or this or that, I know what
disputations. Okay, let me...
do you mean the tone of the disputations, or what do you mean by...
Okay, there is a submission you made in Enugu. Some of council took you on that. And obviously, at the end of the day, there wasn't an agreement between you and them.
There was or there wasn't?
There was no agreement between you and council who took you up on a number of issues.
Okay, yes.
That's what I mean by disputations. Would it be...
No, with regard to Malam Aminu Kanu, first there was so much a meeting of the minds. We tended to agree on so many issues, and when there was any disagreement on issues, we allow all to express their opinions, and somebody who was normally slave to logic, if he was convinced that this line of argument was the best, he would say this was the line we are taking, but all the buck stopped at his table. He would take the last decision.
But there will be a reasoned debate between you and all the others who are at a meeting with him.
Yes, very vigorous too.
How would you help this commission in this matter where, even if all that has gone through has not been, maybe in your estimation, reasoned debate, how would you recommend to this commission to find something that will...
To fight?
Some way that will lead to reconciliation over a matter that there is disagreement back and forth between contending parties, and they're looking for facts and suggestions.
Since you talk in the context of Aminu Kanu, then I give the Aminu Kanu formula, namely, let superior logic win.
I didn't hear you, please.
Since you asked this question, I won't know why you are referring to Aminu Kanu. Since you referred to Aminu Kanu, and Aminu Kanu was noted as one of the most sensitive consciences in this nation, since you referred to him, I would say that I will recommend to the Commission to apply Aminu Kanu formula, namely, let superior logic win and let social equity be enthroned.
On that case, I close my examination, Mr. Chairman.
No, re-examination cannot be today.